We are live. Let me just see. Everything. So we'll wait and see who sneaks on here with us. And they can let us know that we sound good. We look good. So far I see I see some eyeballs popping up in the corner. Little space. Hi Amber. Hey Amber, since you're in the comments, can you let us know if you can hear us okay? Hello. I see Amber's name. Now I see Facebook user. Hi. So I think we'll probably be good to go. Everything looks and sounds good. Thank you. All right. So I was just sharing with Sarah that today is the first day in over a year that my husband has gone back to work in his physical work location, which is like an hour away, and he took his headphones with him. So
fingers crossed.
So it looks like it's time for me to buy some headphones that are going to work for my ears and my computer. So it seems to be it's now the time. So if you are new here, I'm Anna with the Sisters Enchanted, the co-founder here, and I'm with Sarah Milne, our co-teacher in Expedition Astrology, and also a Sisters Enchanted team member. And we come on every Friday and do a week ahead astrology forecast. So, hi Sarah.
Hello, how you doing? We've had a bit of a chat. You're doing all right. You're looking like you're hanging in there. With the change of schedules and
the change of
family life.
I'm hoping, and we'll see what this week ahead has in store for us here, but I'm really hoping that, and this, I think that this is going to sound okay. I don't want it to sound bad, but I think it's the truth, and I am always a truth speaker, that when my husband stopped going to work regularly, I think I relied a lot on him to like help me with my day-to-day. And when he was working regularly, I was, working. I am a super Virgo and I love a really clean house, and my house has not been clean as of late. Granted, I do have a 7-month-old, so it's a bit to be expected, but I'm kind of hoping that I find a new groove again with him being away, and I kind of find my natural rhythm that I used to have, or at least a new one that suits me, where I'm a little bit more just pushing through the day with myself, even if it's with less help, that I kind of like find my groove because I'm not relying on another person being here to be helpful.
I get that. Yeah, I understand that. Absolutely. I found the same. Look, so I'm getting echo again, although I have my earphones are in. But yeah,
you don't sound echoey to me at all. You sound good to me.
To me, I'm getting echo. All through lockdown, I was the same. When my partner was home, I didn't. It's hard because you always feel like you should be talking to them, and and so forth. And then when he's back, I'm just like, right, I've got all day to just get on.
Yeah,
do my thing.
Well, I will say that I did successfully. He was here, so the kids got breakfast at the same time, but I did get dinner in and going. So that's one less thing I have to do today. So I do see something saying that it is echoey, but
I can hear it.
I wonder if it is me. I'll just put my hand under my computer and hold it up from the desk, but hopefully it's not too bad. And what I'll do is I'm going to mute myself, Sarah, and you can go just right into the Astro Talk about what the week ahead is, and I'll just unmute myself
just talk
after a little bit. Yeah. So you go ahead.
Well, it'd be interesting now to see. So that echo's gone, hasn't it? I can't hear the echo anymore. So if anyone can still hear the echo, let me know. I can't hear it now. Can you hear me at all, though? Can you hear me? That's just, when it's just you talking, you're not so sure. Okay, so of course we still have some of the energies from last week overhanging. So that Uranus square Saturn, that big kind of like bone breaker, like breaking up some of our some of the sort of like systems, and that's very much for Anna right now, the systems and the kind of like structures that you built for yourself. So Anna's going for this big change of with her husband being back at work, so that's kind of a very Uranus square Saturn thing, like some sort of structure that has already been in place has now been broken and making new structures. So like as we said, change can be good. People fear the Uranus square Saturn, like it's going to bring all this kind of unexpected change and break all our structures, but of course some structures need to be broken. It's good to break them, it's a good time to break them, and so forth. So we've got that under, we spoke about last week. Of course, Mercury is still in retrograde, Saturn's still in retrograde, so those big things are still going on. So all that sort of, there's a lot of Mercury Gemini activity this week, but we have to remember that this is in the context of the retrograde as well. So we've got to remember to keep that kind of retrograde energy in mind as well. So I'll just talk about the first, if I just talk about what the first thing, then Anna, you can jump in and talk, and then we'll do it that way bit by bit then. So Tuesday then, and this will run through till Saturday. So from Tuesday, we have the Sun conjunct with Mercury. So the Sun and Mercury are working together. We've talked before about how conjunctions are like this kind of super planet almost, where these two energies come together, work so well together that they are kind of working as one in one big super planet. Although sometimes they can the same as with that, if we're kind of close with somebody and working very closely with somebody, of course we're going to work really beautifully in harmony, and then every now and again we're going to be a bit like, I just need my own space now. That can happen as well with a conjunction. You might get a little bit of kind of like a few bumps because like one of the planets just wants to burn that one out a little bit and those kind of things. But on the whole, it's two planets really working together as a super planet. So when we have the Sun conjunct with Mercury, this means that we have a real, because remember the Sun is us, it's our creativity, it's our ego in that astrological sense of ego. So ego being who we are and how we're creating ourselves in the world and all that good stuff. That means that there's a very big focus on our thinking and our intellect and our communication. And that's going to be very tied up this week with us being the best version of ourselves we can and being that kind of shining in our best lives and our best creativity. There's going to be a lot of focus on thinking and communicating for that. But remember, we're retrograde. So whereas normally we just go, yeah, that's great, it's just all about thinking and communication, job done. It means that perhaps to me, looking at things in that different way that we do during Mercury retrograde, and particularly because it is in Gemini, I think that's very important this week. It's that kind of like, yeah, there's a real focus on communicating, a real focus on thinking. It's really going to do us good and it's going to help us to shine in our best light. But maybe because it's retrograde, we should be thinking, what ways can we be slightly different? What ways can we look at our perceptions and see things through a different coloured lens and all that kind of good retrograde stuff? I think that ties in with it. But we can expect quite a lot of mental alertness this week, which is good. I need that quick thinking and also that curiosity, because Mercury in Gemini, its own sign, and all of this is happening in Gemini. So that Gemini curiosity and adaptability is going to be really easy for us this week and really important for us this week. And interpersonal like experiences on a local level, like Gemini and Mercury is all about like short distance travel. So maybe kind of if like you have kind of like, I know I need to get out about a bit more, even in my local community, and come out of this kind of like, I've quite enjoyed the lockdown. I was, just becoming the hermit with my books and my crystals and my candles and my cards, and just like quite happy. I don't feel like I need to expand myself at all right now. I feel like that's fine. My world is this room and I love it, but I probably need to get out a little bit. So that kind of like, increasing our localized communications and experiences, that's quite good. In fact, I just had an email came today and I think I was beginning to think about this, because it's not till July, but it was for a day's event tied up with the Women's Fiction Prize in London. And I just decided it's a day's event, and it was all online, but they're doing some live events. So I just went through the email, went, yes. I bought tickets for the whole day. Just thought, you know what, I'm going to go up to London and spend the whole day doing every single one of those like author chats and the rest of it, because I just need to just do something. Otherwise, I'm never going to get out of this house again. So this is very much this kind of energy, like getting out there and in the world again, and it's very good for new learning. So learning this week, contracts and negotiating. We've been talking a lot about our house sales. I have been told yesterday that we are very, very close to exchanging that contract now, so I hope it happens next week, because we kind of have this week of clarity. I feel like there's been a lot of fog. We've had a lot of foggy Neptune stuff, and we are in Mercury retrograde, but feel like this week gives us almost like a little bit of a break from that retrograde energy, in a sense, with this conjunction. It's still there, but rather than fogging our minds, I think it's going to challenge us to think differently, but in that very kind of like in a very kind of like coherent way, in a very clear way. So I think we'll get a week of clear thinking, but still needing to look at things from a different light and a different way and different perspective. So I'm hoping that I get my contract through this week, so I can use my Sun conjunct Mercury to feel a bit more less fuzzy when I look at it, but look at it with that kind of like making sure that the perception is right and so forth. So that's Anna, have you got anything to add in about a Sun conjunct Mercury?
Well, I will say, and hopefully when I come on, we don't start sounding echoey again, but there are so many new faces in the comments. So hello, everybody who are joining us and saying hello. Welcome all. I see some Texas, some Rhode Island. I myself am on the shoreline in New England. So yeah, what do I think? I think that you said lots of really great things. It was, you had said something that, you know, about looking at things from a different perspective and feeling very hermity, and that I too am also loving being home and not really going out. I did get out this week. I lived wild and called my older son out of school one day. We went to the zoo, and that was really nice to be outside on a quiet day and just have some time out and about. But you were talking about looking at things from a different perspective and talking about Mercury. And I really, really like the planet of Mercury. And I think that astrologically speaking, we're always so focused on you know, our Saturns, our Plutos, and things like that. And we kind of forget about Mercury, but how important Mercury is with our communication, and how you shared recently, Sarah, with how we learn and just how we think and communicate, and how relevant that is to your day-to-day, you know, life. And with all the things that are happening, kind of looking at things at a new perspective and a new way to look at things. And I really love that, especially with Mercury, and, you know, in mythology, Mercury, that's Roman for the Greek Hermes, that he does, you know, travel all over the place, and he has to go, you know, to the underworld, and he has to talk to all sorts of different folks and spread all sorts of messages. And he also is super tricky and does his own thing, but he's always looking at things from a different perspective, and also like going somewhere else to get clarity on something, or having to go somewhere else to get to a bottom of the communication. And so I just think it's interesting that like you might have to push yourself outside the box right now to look at something a little bit differently, speak more clearly than you normally do. And with that Sun conjunct Mercury, that you might even have a little bit more clarity, even though we are in a Mercury retrograde, to be able to speak to things from a different perspective, and have the confidence to do that, even if the retrograde makes it like a little bit wonky in the end. But the fact that you're actually getting out there, pushing the comfort zone with that, because that could be really tricky to navigate a change in the way you look at something, or the way that you would normally speak to something, but how important it is to do that. And especially in this kind of time that we're in, where, you know, hermit mode is kind of being gently, not taken away from us, but being gently like
being teased out of it.
You know, like somebody unlocked the door to the hermit's little cottage and like cracked it open. And now that we're able to kind of do that, it does give us an opportunity to take like a breath of fresh air and to kind of do things a little bit differently than we have been. So I think that's all very interesting, just with just life in general and all of those things. Yeah, absolutely.
Looking for new experiences. I don't want to do the same things as I did before lockdown. I don't want to go to the same places with the same people, really. It's like you feel like this break has made you realize you've done all that. So I think that's very much what this Sun conjunct Mercury is all about, looking for new experiences and new things to do. So then the next day we have the solar eclipse, of course, in Gemini. So this kind of follows on from, we talked a couple of weeks ago about the Sagittarius lunar eclipse, and we said that was the first eclipse in this kind of cycle of eclipses. And so now we have our second one. This, we will see it a little bit. It's 5:24 a.m. it starts ET. So for you on the East Coast, I think that means, I mean, as you, those of you that are new, in the comments today, you might notice I'm not in America. I'm in the UK, in near London. So I feel like we're gonna get a tiny glimpse of this too. And I get so used, because of working with Sisters Enchanted, I get so used to thinking in ET that I wrote this down. Then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to get up really early to see if I can get a little glimpse of this. But of course, for me, that's 10:10. 10:24, so I don't. But we might see a little bite bit coming out of the sun. We're not going to see it all, but we'll see a little bite coming out of the sun. It's an annular eclipse. It's a little bit coming out of the sun. It's the second in this cycle, and then we go to Sagittarius solar eclipse on December the 4th, which is a total eclipse in some parts of the world. But so it's been this cycle of eclipses, and eclipses bring this change. And again, it's something that people used to fear way back in time. People used to fear eclipses and say they came with bad omens. But now we know that they can just challenge us to think where we need these changes and where we want to direct that kind of energy. So think back to yourself, that Sagittarius lunar eclipse, and some of us in the Sisters Enchanted community, we had a really good, really interesting and exciting co-witching hour that day, when we all get together and we talk about things that we're doing and so forth. And it was really good, and so many people were experiencing that change or wanting to bring about a change, and we talked quite a lot about that on that day. So now this is like the second stage in that cycle. So don't worry if you're new to us or new to astrology and you didn't think about that Sagittarius lunar eclipse. That's absolutely fine. You can still start from here, but this is like the next stage of that change. So it's all about this Gemini energy we've just talked about, and we're having the sun conjunct with Mercury at the same time. I think is really cool, because it's making us kind of really think and really kind of focus on that Gemini energy and that Mercury energy we've just been talking about. So keeping an open mind to all the changes, when we're having this extra kind of curiosity in the world and thinking about things in these different new ways, what changes do you feel challenged to make? And then you can think now about making those changes on Thursday. And it's also, of course, a new moon. So thinking about that lunar intention, how do you want to feel? And it's quite good to have a focus now of how do you want to feel at the end of this year, beginning at the end of this year, at the beginning of the last month, December the 4th, where do you want to be? And importantly, because with that, with a lunar intention, with the new moon, how do you want to feel? So we've got the solar and lunar intentions together, because we have the eclipse, solar to solar eclipse, and we have the lunar new moon. So we can really think about where do you want to be, what do you need to do to get there, and how do you want to feel? And particularly thinking about Gemini energy there, like about your thoughts, your logic, your experiences, anything you want to do that involves communication and so forth. And think about these new intentions and like draw that wonderful eclipse energy and use it to really prepare yourself through to December the 4th. But of course, we have to do the work. So we're going to start making intentions to get there. So you might want to then break it down. Okay, so we're now in June, we've got till December. You could even plan like a whole cycle of, when we talk about setting new intentions on the new moon, you could sit down on Thursday and create a sort of series of intentions, like a kind of like a pathway of intentions. Like if I make that intention this new moon, then it can take me to this intention next moon and this one. You could break that right down, and where do you want to be at the close of this year, because this is really good time to work with that and to get focused on that. And
I keep muting myself for safety's sake. Yeah, no, and I think it's really important what you said there about intention setting and making sure that you are setting, because we have a lot of time right now between now in December, that when you're setting an intention and you're kind of doing this forward facing, work to put yourself in a destination, 6 months from now, or however many months it is now, less than that, that you do need to pick things that you can intentionally focus on and actually do, because it's so many times and that we set an intention or we choose that we're going to do something and we make it so not tangible. It's like, I intend to do this, and then the moon cycle goes, the next couple months go, and you never did anything for it. Or you set the intention and then you're like, I set that intention, but it just never came to fruition. It never came true for me. But it's so true that when you're setting an intention, because you want to bring something into your life, that you have to do some of the work, you know,
Yeah.
like you are the most important magical tool in your like arsenal of magic. And, you know, if you want to, you know, I don't know, be more abundant or something, like you have to do something to bring more abundance. You can't, you know, sit at home and do nothing. You have to do something that moves the needle. And that I just wanted to say that it was a good thing and an important thing to remember, that, yeah, set intentions and then be an advocate for your own intentions and set them into motion. And this is a really great time to have that like 6 month kind of like warning for this good time, because 6 months ago we were just reining in like a new year where people do tend to set a lot of intentions and then they let them go. They don't usually do them. And that this is a really good time, astrologically speaking, to stop, reevaluate, and find something that you can actually do in the next 6 months.
Absolutely. It really is. And then when you think about how quickly that goes, like you're saying, 6 months is a long time, but it goes so fast. And so you kind of like, I feel like there's so many things that I should have done. And it's like, I was trying to do that months ago. It's like time just goes so fast. At my age, I'm a little bit older than everyone else in Sisters Enchanted. You start to really feel like, well, I've really got to get things happening now because I could just run out of time, you know. So it's a good time for thinking of these things.
Well, as I was saying in the beginning of that, like just how fast, you know, time goes by. You know, I was saying that today was my husband's first day back at like his regular job, and it was I texted him on his way to work and I was like, how you are showing up to work a whole different guy than when you left, because since you've been home, which has been for well over a year, you've gotten married, you've had a baby, you've done like all these things, and the last time you were at work, you were none of these things were true for you. And I was like, just how crazy what amount of time has passed. And you know, I was so you know, like, oh, he's going back to work today and I've had so much help. And then I have to sit and realize that I had 7 months of well, he was still working his regular job, but I had 7 months of him being like around, so that if I needed to take like a quick, you know, 5-minute shower, or I needed to have like help changing a diaper, that he could step away for 5 minutes to help me. And how fast that time went by of all that extra help. And now like having to circle back from that. But yeah, time just flies. And I see in the comments that it's sorry, it says Facebook user on the software that I'm using, so I can't say your name, but it says it's hard for me to set intentions too, and I constantly lose track of time. Yeah, well, a lot of times too, we set intentions that are like way too big, you know. So like if your intention is, for me, like to keep a tidy house, well, am I going to be able to go from being kind of scattered and cluttered to being like really clean all the way every day? Probably not. But could it be a really good intention for me to load the dishwasher every night?
Exactly.
And
yeah, it's a good
example. So I unload it every morning. Yeah. Like, is that an achievable something for me? And that becomes my next habit, because you talk about, so this is so side tangenty, but you talk about like habits, and a lot of times intentions are something that we need to integrate into our lives to make that intention come to be true, right? And they say it's like that idea of those like of habit stacking, where like if you get up every morning and you make breakfast, and that's always a habit for you, or you always pour your cup of coffee, that you stack the next thing that you want to do. So if you want to load the dishwasher or unload it every morning, that you pour your cup of coffee, and as you're sipping it, you now start to unload the dishwasher, and soon that habit becomes part of the habit of pouring your coffee. So with intention setting, so is it in 6 months maybe an achievable goal that your house stays pretty tidy? Maybe, but maybe one lunar cycle you work on stacking just the dishwasher, and then the next cycle you work on adding a laundry day, you know, and then maybe by the time 6 months is up, you have some sort of routine where you do these certain things. And in 6 months, maybe that intention becomes a little bit more real, but it's not going to happen in one lunar cycle. Like, you're not going to just master doing all of those and then have it stick. You've got to like give yourself time to do tangible things, and then appreciate yourself and thank yourself for doing that work to make that intention come through.
Absolutely. And I think that I like your idea of intention stacking, because you could also like develop a plan to stack your intentions in that way, in a way that they do kind of like, so now I've got that habit from this one, what can I add to it? And I'm thinking back as well, we talk about these things one by one, but they're all happening at the same time. And we've got that Uranus square Saturn, that also, like, because I said in my last week that it would just be one happen. It's happening all year. The sort of orb of that square is all year, but we're getting these direct squares 3 times this year because of retrogrades. So we have the last one in December as well. So we've kind of got that as well at the same time, that kind of working at the same time as this eclipse cycle. We have that cycle as well of this kind of like break the structures and create new ones going on at the same time. So we really have got this really rare, because the Saturn Uranus squares don't happen every year, so we've got this super rare kind of opportunity to really kind of like make some lasting changes to in our lives, to take control of that astrological energy and make these changes. And it really is like, it's huge. Really is that kind of that kind of once every blue moon, so to speak, astrological lineup, that if you don't use it, then in years to come, for the rest of your life, you're like, why didn't I use that energy for this? You know, it's just super powerful right now.
That's what I love about astrology, is because astrology, at least in my humble opinion, it doesn't like dictate things that happen, no. But you can oftentimes see energies that are happening and look at other times in life or in history where something kind of similar happened around similar astrological happenings. And I think it's just so interesting that as these next 6 months roll out, we are starting to dip our toes back into what maybe normalcy kind of looks like, and how much of a change people are going to go through independently, you know, from, like I said, exiting this hermit mode. If you choose to exit hermit mode, how much you exit hermit mode. Like, do you go back to work? Do you change into like being somebody who works remotely all the time? Those are changes that we've dealt with for some time. But how are those going to roll out when they become like your actual day-to-day life going forward? What is the new normal from here? And I think it's so interesting too that in these next 6 months, we're going to see what maybe a possibility of a new normal is. So not only is it happening to us independently, but it's happening to us.
The world. Yeah, exactly. It's really interesting. I mean, I've obviously how the world, we're all contributing to how things change in the world, and like it's lots of talk about air travel, like do we really need it, or can we do Zooms? Now when it comes to like people, I've had friends that used to fly to Tokyo from London for half a day for a meeting, and it's like, it's not really good for the environment. Just do like, it's all right if you go for a while, but I know that in the sort of our private lives, my partner went out to the pub the other day, and he came back and was like, I didn't enjoy it. It's just not the same anymore. I want to be at home with you. I want to be doing what we've been doing for the last kind of like year. And I know that I play music, and I used to go and do open mics and gigs and stuff. But because obviously inspired also by Sarah and her talk about that one thing and the thing that you're putting your energies into, I'm kind of like, but it was fun, but it didn't get me. It wasn't lined up with where I don't want to be a musician. I love playing music, but it's not. Maybe I'll do it every now and again, but every week writing new songs and playing them, no, because what I do with the Sisters Enchanted and my own writing, I need to be spending my time on that. So that's like deciding, you know, to get me out of the house and get me back into this kind of like social world. It was like, okay, I'm going to go at the beginning of first Tuesday in July, Women's Prize special event. There's loads of like famous people there to listen to and to hear, and loads of writers to hang out with. So I'm just going to go and spend my entire day in my notebook there. It's like that kind of, these are the people that I now need to find, and that's the social life that I now need to create. And I think I was feeling quite lonely, even thinking I felt like my friends and I've gone through a very different lockdown experience, and I have Gemini in my 11th house, so that makes perfect sense that all this is happening in the 11th house. And I was sad. Then I thought to myself that a lot of people are going to be in this position. A lot of people are going to feel like during lockdown they went on a different journey to their friends, and now they need to find new people, you know. So this is kind of what that Gemini conjunct Sun is. So if you are feeling like I have been, this is the time to go out and find those other kind of like drift people as well.
That's too funny. So I'm also reading comments. I'm listening and reading comments, which I'm like not as good at as Sarah is. And I'm like, I'm listening, but I'm also taking a second to react. I'm reading everybody's comments, and it's just interesting. We see a lot of people really getting ready to work on some new intentions, and people noticing more about where Gemini is in their chart and how that is in their that's coming out in their daily lives and how they're noticing those kinds of things. And that's just, at the end of the day, what I just truly love about astrology. Just when you start to just notice things, that you just start to see it just reflecting in yourself in a way that you never noticed it before. And I don't know, I'm super excited about the next 6 months and trying to see what that's like, and what we're all going to, like, how we're all going to change independently and beyond independently.
Absolutely.
So, yes.
Absolutely. So let's talk about one more thing, and this is Mars going into Leo. Mars goes into Leo on Friday, and again, this is the beginning of a cycle as well. I mean, it's really important to see astrology is a cycle. Everything's moving. It's not just kind of like Mars in Leo today. Things are moving. So we are kind of moving towards the end of July and next month, when Venus and Mars have a conjunction. So this is the first step in that conjunction. Like, Mars is moving a little bit ahead of Venus. So Mars in Leo means that obviously whenever any planet is in Leo brings this confidence and this pride, and it's like Anna said in the Astro talk we had with our astrology course recently, that it's like Mufasa. I love that now, like Mufasa in The Lion King, proud of everything, proud of the pride, proud of his child, just wanting to live his best life on that rock. It's just really cool. Leo is also playful. It's that inner child in us. Leo is the performer. Like, some people talk about arrogance of Leo, but we all need a little bit of that kind of like. And again, we've been talking a lot today about getting ourselves back out in the world again. We all need a bit of that, a bit of kind of, right, this is who I am. I've been hiding my light in my bedroom bushel for the last kind of like year and a half, so here it is back out there again. We all need a bit of that, and Mars in Leo really brings us that, because it motivates us to behave a lot. That Leo energy is coloring our motivation to behave. Mars is also, quite often we don't talk about this kind of thing because it might feel like it's a little bit like cheeky, embarrassing, whatever, but Mars also does rule our sexual motivations as well. So Mars and Venus coming into conjunction in Leo is super sexy. super sexy. Loads of confidence in that area, and that's what that conjunction is all about. So we've got this lovely Leo just giving us all that boost of confidence that we all need in all our motivations, but this is the first phase of this, like, coming up to our conjunction. So we've got that kind of like steamy reset in love coming up.
Some Aphrodite Aries energy going on.
Absolutely, yeah. Aphrodite and Aries energy going on in Leo.
Well, it's just making me laugh, because I do love me some mythology, and how you were saying how this is like, can be very like a passionate times and steamy times. And I'm thinking about the story, mythologically wise, when Aphrodite and Aries are out having their kind of like side entanglement. They're kind of like mythological conjunction. And that a trap is set out for them by Hephaestus, who is Aphrodite's spouse in mythology, and that they're caught in like this like net in like their act of their steaminess. And it's just making me laugh about how like we're going to be passionate and we're going to be out there, and Aphrodite and Aries are like, yeah, like, you caught us in our steamy moment. Oh, wow. And how funny that is. And that's kind of like that sounds like it's gonna be one of those energies that's just like, you're just out there going after what you want, and being passionate and taking like getting things that you want, and having that be receptive, because it is a conjunction, and having kind of this like, sorry, I was just like laughing at myself, like playing the Aphrodite Aries story in my head.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. I love it. I love your mythological. I love it. It's brilliant. But yeah, so we're going to have that mythological conjunction at the end of next month. So it can be also creative, artistic as well, all that kind of like what Venus meets Mars, but with Leo's pride and
I love it.
And Leo's confidence and Leo's sense of fun and playfulness. It's gonna be good.
I love it so much.
Absolutely.
That is bringing me so much joy.
It will do. It will do. So it's been quite a positive week this week. It's like quite a nice, clear. We've had all this like dreaminess and Neptuneness, and now we've got some nice clarity. And I think, you know, but it's retrograde season still, so it's still looking at those different perspectives. But I think looking at those perspectives perhaps with clarity really, and having some like aha moments and changes of mind in a kind of positive and clear way, rather than that kind of like hazy, I can't quite see the whole picture kind of a way.
Yeah. So many good things.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking forward, like I said, I'm really looking forward to this upcoming week and this whole next 6 months.
Yeah.
I am going to make it a personal goal. You guys can try to hold me to this. I'll probably forget. You all can hold me to it. That I'm going to, I think, use the Leo, Mars, Venus conjunct energy to try to really either go out and buy myself a new pair of pants or something. And this sounds weird, but as we've said, we've been kind of in hermit mode. And I had, you know, a baby 7 months ago, and I definitely don't look the same as before. But because I've been at home and I've like been just in and of myself, I haven't really tried to dress myself to make myself feel really well, you know, in that body. But now we're getting to a point where it's also getting hot outside, so you're gonna want to get outside because it just gets hot in the house. That I'm gonna try to take that time to be Mufasa-esque in that time of confidence, to maybe try to find something that makes me feel really good in this body and harness my inner Aphrodite in it, and just, you know.
You look amazing. You look amazing. That'd be great. And you've got your MC, isn't it? This is all happening right up there at your midheaven.
Yes.
So Anna's gonna just shine.
It's like, look out, world. Here I come.
Hey. Anna's making a big entrance in the party. You're like, this is me.
Right. This is me. This is me.
I
now.
love it. I love
it. All good things.
All good things.
So, Sarah, anything to say to round out the astrology forecast for the coming up week?
Like I said, you know, it's that clarity, but clarity in a new way, you know, a change of perspective with the clarity, which I think is great. And I really use this energy. I think this is such an important week to utilize this eclipse energy with the Saturn Uranus square, because that isn't going to happen again probably in your lifetime. So use that energy and propel yourself into something super exciting. It's all like, you know, like it's all just super exciting stuff that you can really create who you want to be. And like I love that we've been talking a lot today about hopefully touching everything wood and thinking everything positive thoughts coming out of this difficult few years and into something new and exciting that we can create for ourselves. So, yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Sarah, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for all the new faces I've seen here today. So nice to see you. I see lots of friends here too, like Dana and Amber and Jamie, but also lots of new faces. And thank you so much for being here for our astrology forecast. We do these every Friday. So mark it on your calendars at 11 a.m. ET. Also, if you didn't know, we're about to kick off our next round of our free 7-day Quest to Self Expedition to Soul, where we actually do have one day that we enter our cave, which is our moon sign day, where we talk a little bit about astrology that day. And so if you haven't heard of Expedition to Soul, get in on that quest, visit us there. It's a great, fun 7 days with the community and really working on, you know, getting down to some soul level action. expeditiontosoul.com. Sign up. We'll see you there. Starts June 12th. That's a Saturday. And so exciting. I see some whoops for Expedition to Soul. If you've already done it, do it again. A lot of people do. So yeah,
I'm going to do it this year again.
Yes, do it. So
and definitely
expeditiontosoul.com. Yes.
Absolutely. And this is a good thing to do with this, all this energy we've been talking about, and doing something like, new and challenging the way you're thinking. This is the perfect week to sign up.
It's the perfect gateway to like bust through. I love it. So we hope to see you all there, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Thank you, folks, for joining us.
Have a good week, everybody.
Have a good weekend. Bye.